Hi, I'm Benji Hardy. Mac's out of town today, so I've got your Arkansas News headlines for Wednesday, June 10th. Let's start with some late-breaking news from yesterday. Judge Wendell Griffin ruled that the state of Arkansas must extend benefits to those few hundred same-sex couples who got married in the state in 2014 after Judge Chris Piazza's ruling that struck down the Arkansas ban on same-sex marriage. Those benefits include filing taxes jointly and allowing the spouses of state employees to be given health insurance coverage equal to that given to other spouses. So it's a narrow application, but a victory nonetheless. Only about 500 couples were married in Arkansas in the week or so before the Arkansas Supreme Court put a halt in 2014 to continued issuance of marriage licenses. Appeals of that decision, of Piazza's ruling, have been pending in the Arkansas Supreme Court ever since, and of course we're still awaiting a decision from the court on that matter. Meanwhile, other good news for LGBT rights. In Hot Springs, opposition to a limited anti-discrimination ordinance there failed to force a referendum vote, according to a city director. And in Fayetteville last night at their city council meeting, a much broader civil rights ordinance was introduced. It's a reworked version of the measure that was narrowly rejected in a referendum last fall by voters. But the reworked version now enjoys the support of some former opponents, and 4 of the 8 aldermen on the Fayetteville City Council have signed on as co-sponsors. So let's hope it enjoys better chances. Moving on, an interesting item about special education licensure rules. The Department of Education pulled a proposed rule change on special education teacher licenses. That rule change was approved with little notice last month, and it almost became finalized today. But at the last minute, the department asked to have it pulled off of the agenda for the Legislative Rules Committee, which was meeting today. They asked to do that because of a controversy that arose. The proposed change would make it possible for existing teachers to get licensed to teach special education if they're able to pass the requisite praxis test. In other words, basically, teachers could test out of the requirement to teach special ed without taking additional university coursework. Disability advocates fear that would water down the quality of special education instruction. Now, the Education Department says that the point of the rule is just to give districts more flexibility, since rural school districts often have a hard time finding enough special ed teachers to meet their needs. But disability advocates disagree. They say it's really not about training requirements. I mean, it's hard to find special ed teachers because it's a tough job. A lot of teachers don't want to teach special ed because of the stress and the overwhelming paperwork involved. In any case, the Education Department has agreed to back up in light of the controversy, and it's going to restart the rulemaking process and solicit more public comment. Got some new news about the Duggar family today. In Touch, which is the celebrity gossip magazine, which originally broke the story of the sexual molestation occurring within the family some years ago, is now saying that there is a new ongoing investigation by the Department of Human Services into the Duggar family. Child maltreatment investigations are confidential, closed to the public, so DHS won't be able to comment one way or the other whether or not that investigation is happening, but In Touch obtained a transcript of a 911 call that was made by a Washington County DHS worker requesting police assistance in conducting an investigation into what sounds like an allegation of child maltreatment of some kind. The purported DHS employee tells 911 in the transcript, quote, "We have an investigation and I guess they're not being cooperative. We have to see the child to make sure the child is all right, so we just need police assistance," end quote. And the employee lists an address that corresponds to the Duggar family home. In Touch says it is publishing the full transcript of the call this week. Now, to be clear, we don't really know much about this. We don't know what the allegations are. We don't know where DHS is at with the investigation, and we may never know, since, again, child maltreatment records, unlike police reports and other records, are strictly off limits to public scrutiny. Finally, today I'd ask you to look at the Arkansas blog for the Citizens First Congress Legislative Scorecard, which that group, a grassroots progressive lobbying coalition, just published today. It gives you a rundown of the 2015 legislative session. Assigns a score to every lawmaker based on how they voted on 32 of the most important bills in the session on a variety of issues. Somewhat depressingly, it notes that scores have dropped every session overall since 2009 when the group began issuing this scorecard. I'll read a brief quote. "The body has become more partisan and divisive as the overlap in scores between Democrats and Republicans is shrinking. A legislator's vote on a given issue is now much more strongly correlated to the party that legislator is from than it used to be." And with that positive thought, I am out. I'll be back tomorrow.